Hey everyone, it's Rob B here with Rob D, and you are listening to the Property Podcast. Now, we've created hundreds of episodes, and while that is fantastic, there's loads for you to take advantage of, it also can be a bit intimidating. Where to start? Which one should I listen to? Well, don't worry, in this episode, we're going to give you the very best episodes that you must listen to first.
Welcome to the Property Podcast, where every Thursday morning, property investors come to be informed and inspired. We've been doing this for such a long time now that we've put out hundreds of episodes. So if you haven't been listening from the start, and that's okay, what do you listen to first? Do you start from episode 1 and work forwards, or start the most recent episode and work back, or just randomly pick some titles that sound good in the middle? Well, you don't have to do any of those, because in this episode, we're going to give you the perfect starting point. So whether this is your first time or you've been with us for a little while, welcome. I'm Rob D, and along with Rob B, we have been at this podcasting lark for around 7 years now. We've put out over 350 episodes of the Property Podcast. We've done it every Thursday. We've never missed a week. And we've recorded 200 more episodes of what we call Ask Rob and Rob, which comes out every Tuesday, where we answer listener questions.
Now, as a new listener, it might be a bit overwhelming to try and work out where to start, like episode 1, the most recent one. Well, that's what this episode is all about. We want to set you straight. We want to give you a jumping off point that you can find all the best content from this point onwards. So our aim is to bring you up to speed so you can start from here. And if you've been around a while, well, great, welcome. This is still a great refresher for you as well.
So first of all, who are we?
It's a deep question, Rob. Very deep. Who are we really?
Well, I don't know if we can give you a full philosophical answer to that question.
Who is Rob D?
He's a very complex character. But for podcasting purposes, I've been investing in property for around about 10 years, a little bit more, I think. And I've also been blogging about property for most of that time and written a few books along the way, which we'll mention in the show notes if you want to go and check those out. So that's me. What about you?
Well, I'm Rob B. I've been investing for over a decade as well and working in the industry for over a decade. I've worked with thousands of investors on millions of pounds of deals and still learning. But that's what this podcast is all about, bringing you the lessons that we get from all the stuff that we've done.
Definitely. And between us, we've founded something that we called Property Hub. It all started with the podcast. That was the first thing we did together. But over a number of years, it has just grown and grown. So we've now got a YouTube channel. We've got books, we've got a forum with nearly 50,000 members, we've got free video courses in something we call Property Hub University, we've got articles, and we put on events as well. And everything we do is either free or very, very cheap, just to cover our costs. We also offer services, so we help investors to build their portfolios, to manage their properties, and we offer tax advice as well.
So why should you listen to us? Well, we like to think we're a little bit different from lots of other people on YouTube and other podcasts, especially in property. We really do believe that property is not get rich quick, which doesn't sound as sexy as getting rich quick, but it's the truth. However, we do believe property is an amazing pathway to real wealth and a lifestyle that you want over the long term. And of course, this is built on education, research, experience, and loads of hard work.
And we love education, like Rob said, but we absolutely don't pretend to know it all. What we do is share what knowledge we have gained from both building our own portfolios and working with thousands of clients over the years. We love sharing what we know, but we absolutely don't know it all. We just enjoy sharing the knowledge that we've gained from building our own portfolios and working with thousands of clients, including, as Rob's already mentioned, the lessons that we've learned from making lots of mistakes along the way.
So what is the Property Podcast all about? Well, first of all, we try and make it easy for you. Each and every week, it's about 20 to 30 minutes long. We don't waffle on for hours, and that's because we want to make it an easy part of your daily life. We go through the latest news, we keep you informed, we give you success stories of the people in our community, we call them hubbers, and we cover a main topic. Now, this could be something fundamental, it could be an interview, or a story from a property investor. There's so much to talk about with property.
And we even leave you at the end of the podcast with a little extra, which we call Hub Extra, which is a recommendation like a book, a website, an app, a quote, or a tool that we hope will improve your life in some way.
And if that wasn't enough, we give you an extra podcast on a Tuesday that's called, wait for it, Ask Rob and Rob. And yes, you ask us questions and we give you answers. This is a shorter podcast where you, real life hubbers, get your questions in and we answer them. And it's a great way to learn from other people's real world experiences.
So if all that sounds all right so far, Where should you start? Over 350 podcasts seems like a lot to get through and get yourself up to speed. We do hear from people who discover the podcast, go all the way back to episode 1 and listen the entire way through, but you definitely don't have to do that. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. So where do you start? Well, we're going to run you through some of our real foundational episodes, some of the most important we've ever done, covering the key topics you need to understand so you can get up to date fast. We'll run through them now, but don't worry about scribbling down the names of the episodes or anything like that, because we're going to link to all of them in the show notes for you.
So there is one URL you're going to need to note down, and that's to get all these notes in one place. So if you go to propertyhub.net/podcast start, or one word, that's propertyhub.net/podcast start, all these episodes will be linked to there. So Rob, let's go. What should be the first episodes that people listen to?
Well, something we've talked about a lot over the year is goals. Before you start investing in property, it's so important that you've determined what it is you actually want property to do for you, because there are so many different things property can do for you. One of the very first episodes that we did was called How Goal Setting Will Change Your Life, where we talk about why goals are so important and how to set good ones. So we'll link to that episode. And another one on the same topic was an episode that we called Property Dreamline Revisited. This is where we give you a spreadsheet, we give you a framework to use to set out your goals and make sure you're on track for success. So before you worry about what to buy, how to buy, where to buy, any of that stuff, get your goals right by listening to those episodes.
Yeah, the people who are the most successful in property investment are the ones who are very clear on their goals and then work towards them in a systematic way. So make sure you listen to those episodes. Okay, so once you've got your goals sorted, you're going to need to understand the fundamentals of property investment. And before you even understand that, it's really important that you understand the economy. So we've done an episode that's called How the Economic Machine Works. And in that, we look at an economic model put together by Ray Dalio. Now, don't worry if this is blowing your mind and thinking, wow, economics, that's a bit heavy. We promise it's a great episode. We make it as easy as possible for you to understand. Because once you understand the general economy and how it works, you then can start to understand the property economy, or something that we like to call the 18-year property cycle.
Yeah, the 18-year property cycle is probably the thing that's caught the imagination of property podcast listeners the most. It's often a real revelation where people hear about the cycle for the first time, because it explains why property prices do what they do. It shows you that changes in prices are not just random, that you can predict where things are going. You can see into the future in terms of how your investments are likely to perform. And it also gives you confidence that when things are not going well in the market, that means that better times are just around the corner. We've done several episodes on the property cycle, and later on we're going to tell you how you could easily search to find other episodes about topics that you're interested in if you want to dive in deeper. But we're going to link you to the first episode we ever did on the property cycle, and I think you'll find it might just blow your mind.
So once you've got that foundation of knowledge, see what I did? You then need to understand the fundamentals of property investment. And the first thing you really need to understand is leverage and how that works. Leverage is using a mortgage or other people's money to invest in more. Now, some of you may be scared of debt, and that's okay. A lot of people are. But in this leverage episode, we help you understand not only is it not a bad thing, but actually it's a property investor's secret weapon. We then recommend you take on our inflation podcast. Now, I know you probably wouldn't pick this one up by yourself, but if you understand inflation, then you understand the secret to why people get wealthy and why people become poor. The grasp of that subject alone will set you apart from most other people.
We then combined those ideas about leverage and inflation in an episode called Why Property Goes Up in Value. And again, this is one of the most important episodes you can listen to, because so much nonsense gets talked about property. If you listen to the mainstream media, if you listen to your friends, you'll hear so much inaccurate opinion. People will tell you that property only ever goes up in value, which isn't true. People will tell you that now is a terrible time to invest in property because all the growth has already happened, which also isn't true. But the reason these opinions are wrong is because they are just that, opinions. They're not based on anything. In this episode, we combine the idea of leverage and inflation to explain why property goes up in value. And once you understand that, you'll have so much more confidence and you'll be so excited about the long-term potential of property that you'll be able to ignore all the nonsense and the noise that you hear and really commit to working out how you should be investing and get started.
Okay, so now you're really starting to build on your knowledge. That I won't stop. You'll hear more puns. But what you need to understand quite early on is, what type of property investor are you? There are so many ways to invest in property, and that makes it fantastic, exciting and awesome, but it also makes it intimidating and can sometimes stop people investing at all. In this episode, we break down the different types of property investors and help you self-identify which one you sit best with, and then from there you'll be able to make better investment decisions. And from there, you'll be able to pick the right strategy for you. And we've done several episodes on strategy. We've done episodes on flips, buy-to-lets, HMOs and refurbs. And again, we'll link to all of those podcasts in the show notes. And you will find all these episodes in order for you to work through at propertyhub.net/podcast start. That's at propertyhub.net/podcast start.
Now, if you listen to all those episodes in roughly that order, by the time you've done that, you will know more about property and investing in general and the economy in general than the vast majority of your peers. Now, beyond that, there's so much still to learn, but don't worry, we've got you covered on all of that as well. Back in our collection of over 350 episodes, we've got detailed episodes on pretty much every topic you can imagine, including mortgages, tax, and property management. Anything you come across, chances are we've done an episode on it. So the search bar on our website should be your best friend. Just go on there, type in whatever you're interested in, and all the relevant episodes will come up, along with relevant videos, articles, and free courses as well. So you'll want to become very familiar with propertyhub.net and the search feature, because whatever you encounter along your property journey, just type it in and there are thousands of hours of free education just waiting for you.
So, what do you do next? Well, the first thing to do is make sure you never miss a future podcast. So subscribe. You can do that through pretty much any podcast app. You can do that through Spotify as well. Wherever it's easiest for you, do it, because the podcast is where we put out the most content. After that, you'll want to take our quiz to find out what type of property investor you are, and then we can send you tailored recommendations. That again will be on the link we keep referring to, but it's also on our homepage. And then if you feel ready and you want to progress a little bit further, book a goals call. Again, it's absolutely free. There's no selling. And in that goals call, an expert will help you set your property goals so you can really accelerate your progress. And you can also go direct and book it at propertyhub.net/goals. Now, the majority of things we've covered are absolutely free. The podcasts, the courses, the YouTube videos, and more. They cost nothing. There's a small charge to cover the costs of the books and the magazines, but they're not there to make huge profits. We price them to get them out to as many people as possible. And tens of thousands of you have, which is fantastic. But if you haven't yet, go get it. You don't need to spend tens of thousands of pounds on courses. Some people will tell you that. Some people will tell you you need to spend a lot of money to learn about property investment. We've been putting out content for 7 years now. There's loads to get stuck into. And if you really feel like you need to pay for something after that, then fair enough. But I'm sure by the time you've worked your way through half of it, you'll feel like an expert.
So there you go. If you are new to the podcast, then welcome. Loads for you to get stuck into there, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you have been listening for a little while, have you listened to all those episodes? Maybe there's one or two you've missed, so go back and check those out. As I said earlier, we don't miss a week. So we're going to be back next Thursday with another episode, and we'll be here with Ask Rob and Rob on Tuesday. And to keep up with everything that's going on at the Hub between episodes, then make sure you're following us on the socials. We're on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at Property Hub UK. So until we see you next, have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.